right, everybody. Hey, welcome to the Dream Team podcast. We're glad that you're joining us this week. Hope you're having a fantastic month of October. It's crazy. We're in October. Fall is here. It's still 80 degrees today.
Yep. It is so warm.
It's a bit of a bummer.
It is.
I just want, even 65.
Yeah.
I don't want to be sweating buckets by the time I get my car again at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't want it anymore.
Yeah. It's just, it's nice, but it's fall.
Yeah, it should be fall
So if it
now.
was like July, I'd be like, this is great.
Right.
But if it's not.
David said, it's nice, but I want some fall weather. But what's going to happen is we're going to get fall weather for 2 weeks, and then it's just going to be cold.
It's going to be cold.
And that's a bummer.
Till April.
April, exactly, yeah.
But it's okay. We're surviving. I had this idea. So if you're listening right now,
Perk
we
up.
came up with an idea. I don't know, it's not original.
Maybe we should have done this at the end so that everybody could, if you got through the video, you got the
That's true. So here's the deal. If you hear this and you're listening, you have to stay tuned till the end to just for our sake know that you listened through it all. So we're like, we should give something away to our dream team, but we want to do it in a semi-challenge way. And so as you're listening here, if you text me or Paige, Dream Team is great, and that's it, and you're the first one to text.
Got to be quick.
Either one of us, you will win a downtown Barberton experience. Give you some cave gift certificates to get some free drinks. We'll get you some Lake 8 movie tickets. You can enjoy a night downtown with your wife or husband or family or whatever it may be, friends. And so text us. Dream Team is great. That's all we want. And you don't have to explain anything else. We'll know exactly what you're talking about, and we will get that to you. But you have to be the first one. This is not for everybody. Just to be clear, the first one.
Do our spouses count? What if David texts?
Oh, man.
I'm just kidding.
That's, yeah.
No,
well,
you guys are out. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess.
It's got to be someone else.
Yeah, I guess it has to be non-family.
So you got to be quick.
Us.
You got to be quick.
Yeah, make sure you get on it.
We'll have forgotten by then, and then we'll be like, Dream Team is great. What
yeah,
we
record this a month in advance or 3 weeks in advance, and we'll get these texts and be like, yeah, I think it is great. Dream Team is amazing. We'll promise to remember this. Hey, just to start the conversation, maybe as we sit here today, maybe as a way to encourage our dream team and maybe just for them to create a thought-provoking conversation about their own spiritual life, what has God been encouraging you with or challenging you with here of recently?
I think I am in a devotional, reading my Bible time on the book of Esther, and I think that book is funny because, God is never mentioned by name, and you think, wow, a book was put into the canon that doesn't talk about Jesus at all, or not Jesus in Old Testament, but doesn't talk about God at all. Yeah. And you're just like, how can I get anything from this? And I think I even kind of went into it thinking that. Yeah. But reading how very clearly you can see God's hand in every single thing that happened from a woman who was really sold for the most part into this competition to win the king's favor. I mean, Esther went through some stuff, and to know that she was placed where she was placed so that the biblical lineage would continue, so that things could happen in a way that protected the Jews. There's just so many truths from that book that I never thought about, and how she was doing what she could with what she was given. And you hear the one verse from Esther all the time, she was placed here for such a time as this. Maybe you were placed here for such a time as this. And so thinking about that is special, especially, having kids and all that stuff. The world is crazy. We all know that. But we get to know that we and our children and our spouses and whatever, our church has been placed here for a specific reason at this specific time. And I think that's really encouraging.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think, funny enough, on the flip side of what you're explaining about that book is mine. We're going through Daniel right now, and so that's been really encouraging. But Daniel is some of the same themes, how to faithfully live and follow God, but God is so present
Yeah.
visibly in
Yeah.
Daniel. And so it's been encouraging to see, talk through Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and all the stories, and really see what faithful living towards God looks like. And I think as I've read through it, I'm shocked at how subtly obvious it is, where it's so distinct and different, and yet it's done in a gracious, humble way. And so I think the encouragement, I love your Esther book theme, like you see these two very distinctly similar and very different books. And so no matter what season you're in, knowing that God is working and leading and that he has placed you in those specific moments and places, whether you can see what he's doing or not, to make a difference for him. So that's cool. Hopefully you all listening are also encouraged to think about maybe where God's at right here, right now, whether you see him or not in this season. So
for sure. Well, today we are talking about one of the parts of our Dream Team Creed, which is pursuing Jesus, pursuing people, and pursuing excellence. Today we are going to highlight pursuing excellence and really just talk all about what that can mean. I think specifically if you're a part of my creative arts team, that can feel like we got to be perfect. We got to do things the right way all the time. And I think that's something that we, or at least I have tried to instill in the team, is that perfection is not the point of excellence. We're not searching for flawlessness. We're not searching for no mistakes. What we're searching for is giving our best because Jesus' best was given for us. His entire life was laid down for us. So how do we give everything that we have, all of our effort? How do we even give our mistakes to him so that he can use them for his glory? Yeah,
excellence is a unique term, in particular in our cultural moment, of how we define excellence and what it looks like, and maybe oftentimes excellence can be often equated to perfection. And excellence, I think, is something of the kingdom of God. I think he wants us to, because of the grace that's so been lavished on us, and we'll talk about this here in a minute, he wants us to run after doing good works, doing good things, kingdom-minded things, the best of our ability out of response of the lavishness of his grace. I also think it's something that we get to do together as kingdom partners. And so it's neat to think about, it's not perfection, but it is a way for us to come around and do better together. And so sometimes when we need encouragement personally, that's why you have a team. There's other times where the team just makes it better. And so we're always constantly looking and saying, how do we make Jesus make sense more and more and more inside of this? And so as we've talked through this, last time we kind of started this conversation, what's kind of excellence at a kind of general overarching, what are we pursuing? What are some of the characteristics of it? Today I want to look at a parable Jesus shared and kind of apply it to this idea of excellence within how we use our gifts and abilities and kind of the servant nature that we are called to inside of his kingdom. So the parable comes from Matthew 25, and it is the verses we'll be looking at in general are 14 through 30. It's the parable of, in my version, it's called the parable of the bags of gold or the parable of the talents. And basically, it's a story that goes like this. Jesus tells a story of a man who goes off on a long journey. He entrusts some servants with bags of gold or his talents. And so he gives 5 to one, he gives 2 to another, he gives 1 to another. And basically, he goes on this journey and he leaves them, he entrusts them with these gifts of sorts. And the one who has 5, he goes and multiplies them and it becomes 10. So he goes and puts it to work and he makes good with it and he uses it and he doubles the effort. The same with 2. 2 goes to 4. The servant with 1 bag ended up digging a hole, putting it in there and kind of covering it and doing nothing while the master was away or while this guy was away. The guy comes back and he celebrates. We read this in verse 21. He celebrates the guys that did 5 and 2. He says, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness." But he is upset with the one who dug the hole and kind of buried the bag. And the servant's like, well, I just was fearful. I didn't want to like lose it. I want to mess it up and things. And he's like, you didn't understand the point with me giving this to you. And so I think inside of this, for us, there's some application to be had when it comes to pursuing excellence. Of course, there's probably deeper spiritual application here. So
save your money.
understand that there are sometimes when it comes to Jesus' parables, we can apply it in maybe some different areas of life. We're applying this to our serving teams and to what it means to pursue excellence, and how do we do the best with what we have, both collectively and individually. And I think that is a kingdom-minded question. How do we do the best with what we have? I think it starts with recognizing also one was given 5, one was given 2, one was given 1. And the master came back and asked them what they did with the bags of gold that they were given. And he invited each of them in, not based on how many bags they had, but that he was inviting them in to be a part of what he was doing, no matter what bags of gold they had. And so I think this is for all of us. I think it's for our serving team collectively. I think it's for serving teams inside of the dream team. I think it's individually. Sometimes I'll have people come up to me and they'll be like, I could never do what you do, or I'm not sure where my place is, or, we talked about having no spare parts. They're like, I am a spare part. And according to this, I think in the kingdom, we all have a part to play, and it just may look different, and the giftings may look different, and the what we're called into may look different. And it doesn't minimize how we should invest, though, which is really important, because I think Jesus tells us here it wasn't necessarily about the amounts that it doubled into or the amount that ended up with. It was the fact that they put it to good use, and that they ultimately multiplied what they were given. So there's a couple of things I think that we can learn from this parable. If you want to read it, it's Matthew 25, 14 through 30. Be well worth reading. But first and foremost, I think this, God, if we apply this master, the guy that went on the journey to God, and we are the servants, okay? God graces us with gifts. And so I think first and foremost, the part where he hands these bags of gold to his servants, it was a gracious thing. He delegated and gifted these servants with these bags of gold to go and to multiply and invest and to be a part of whatever mission, whatever investment he was making, right? And so I think God he graces us with gifts of that nature. I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe it's Romans 12 where Paul talks about the gracious gift of these gifts that we get, the abilities and the spiritual gifts and all the things that God has gifted to us as a part of his family. We should not be proud or prideful about it. We should be humble, and that we need each other. And so no matter if you identify with having 5 bags of gold, 2 bags of gold, 1 bag of gold, and you're like, oh, I'm the 1 bag of gold person, or I don't know if I could do this or that, I think we got to step back and recognize that no matter what you're gifted in, no matter what you're called to, no matter what God's abilities and the time and all the stuff that he's given you in this moment, it's a gift. And he's inviting you in this season, in this moment, with this gifting and these people to invest that. And it may not look like that person, may not look like that person, may not look like that season or this season, but it's where you're at. And I think that's incredibly important to start with, especially as we seek to serve him. If you think about the dream team, it is a compilation of all of us, including you and I, with different gifts and different abilities, different ability in the timing range and seasons and all that stuff, different spiritual gifts, coming together to seek to invest those in his kingdom mission and to encourage each other individually to do that with whatever he's given us. And so it's a gracious thing that he allows us to be a part of. The second thing I think that is important to note is he entrusts us with these gifts. And so in that first verse 14, Jesus is talking, he's saying he entrusted his servants. And so he graces us with it, but he also, as a part of his kingdom and a part of his family, he looks at us and says, I I am entrusting you with this to be a part of our kingdom mission, which then launches me into Romans 8, where Paul talks about us being heirs and co-heirs with Christ. Like, he's doing good on his promise to us by allowing us to have gifts and abilities to play out in his kingdom, which is really, really intriguing, because he could have very easily been like, I'll do this all on my own, and I will come and make everything happen, or I'll hoard all this stuff. And the reality is, he gives us place, he gives us positions, he gives us power, he gives us influence in all these positive ways to be a part of his kingdom mission, which is really cool and humbling that he would entrust us into that. And then lastly is this: he invites me into his kingdom mission through doing this. And I think ultimately it's not a matter of what you are given, it's a matter of being invited into the kingdom mission with what you're given. And so I think as we think about the Dream Team, he graces us with the ability to be a part of his mission every single Sunday, Wednesday, events, whatever it may be. That is, it can feel weighty, but it is less a burden, more a gift that we get to be a part of displaying the mission of Jesus to the world around us. And so when we look at it, and we look at our part in it, I think it is ultimately grounding ourselves in the grace he's given us and trusting us, and then he invites us to jump in, right? And so inside of that, I think my encouragement to the Dream Team is every time that you serve, every time that you're invited in, it is a way to be a part of displaying his grace. It's a way of recognizing and honoring him and trusting us with his good gifts that come through his son Jesus. And we be part of his kingdom mission, which is really cool, and a gift when it's hard and when it's really, really fun, and both sides of those coins. I guess for you, I'd be interested to know, maybe just to make this even more personal, like for you, what's been the journey of being able to see your gifts, abilities, what God's given you play out? And what has that been like for you? Because now you're leading worship every Sunday, you're using your gifts and abilities that way. Has that always been? Did you always know where you were leaning into? And then what have been sources of encouragement when you felt like, am I making a difference, or how am I making a difference, or do I keep showing up when it is hard, or like those kind of moments?
Sure. Yeah, honestly, and this is not like a pity party boohoo, but I feel like this is all I've ever been good at, or like even had a desire to do. I don't know that what I would do if I wasn't doing this, and that's not like I want to do something else. It's more like this is what I've always felt called to do. Since I was really young, going to junior camp, Beyond, Momentum, Kalahari retreats, all the stuff. I was a classic church kid, if you guys didn't know. It's not hard to figure it out.
Classic church. We should call the podcast Classic Church
Classic
Kids.
Church Kid.
101.
Cringy. But I saw people leading worship from such a place of, I don't know, like humility and authenticity. And I'm sure that wasn't the case in every experience. But I was just so moved by that. I was moved by the words, how music makes... we don't always love the word feeling, but like it invokes something in you. I think it drew the Spirit nearer to me in some really like profound ways as a kid. And it was like I was never in music lessons, all that kind of stuff, but I just sang for my whole life. And so it's kind of been developing like, okay, let's learn to play guitar so you can lead a team. It was like, let's learn to do this thing so that you can lead a service and all of that. So I feel very grateful that this is what I've always wanted to do. Like I went to school for it, all this stuff. I don't think I've ever had like a identity crisis of what I was going to do for the rest of my life. That is very common. So I'm grateful for that. But I also think that comes with difficulties because it can feel commonplace when there's like nothing common about what we get to do, about, encouraging people to see Jesus and to make him the biggest deal. There's a tension, especially in the creative arts world, on stage where you have to balance like humility and your skills. So I think that's always been, it's not about me, it's about him. That's something we constantly talk about. And I think something that keeps you going when you're feeling that way is seeing God move, especially on the weekends or during the services where you feel the worst, where you're like, that sucked. Everything about that was trash. I hated it. I feel like, why am I doing this? I'm not a good leader. Nobody laughed at my jokes. I'm looking at you, people, which they're not funny, so I give you credit for that.
No, we should laugh at your jokes.
I just see, like, there was a very specific moment that this happened. It actually wasn't here. It was at a retreat that I was helping lead for, like, a student retreat. And 3 of my team members out of 7 had to leave, or no, 3 out of 6 had to leave.
Oh, dang.
And so I'm going to tell the leader, like, hey, I can't, I have a small team. 3 of them got sick and had to go home. Well, 2 got sick. The 1 guy drove them home. So thanks, buddy. But I'm alone with my friend Michelle and then David. He was there.
Oh, yeah.
And so the outline would have been acoustic, keys, and drums. That's it. And for Barberton campus, you're used to that. So no big deal. But this camp was like full kit. Everything was intense. So I go up to the leader of the camp and I was like, hey, I got to tell you something. We have not as many people. He goes, as long as it's not just acoustic, keys, and drums, we're set. And I was like,
come on, man.
I was like, that was mean. Did you know? But so this is back in the day when I was really novice at playing guitar. And I still do the bare minimum, but like we get it done. Back then was when I was really struggling. And so I almost literally cried through the entire rehearsal. And I'm in college at this time. And we get to the end and we do the service, it ends. And I don't think I'd ever seen a service where like it was clearly so blessed. By God.
That's cool.
Where the students were truly moved, where the room felt like the presence of the Spirit was so like tangibly thick. Where people's like hearts were being changed, and it wasn't because of us by any way, shape, or form. Like you couldn't have ascribed any of the goodness of what happened to me or the team. But we got off, and I was like, He works in those moments, sometimes even more. And so I think things like that happen all the time. We all come in with stuff. We all come in with stuff that makes our week heavy, or stuff from the week that makes our Sunday heavy. But knowing that God is working in those moments is definitely keeps you going.
Such a good example of how you still, so there's a side of it that recognizes that God is the one that's in control. He's gracing it. There's also a side of it that you're willing to like jump in and invest what you had, do the best with what you had, and he led through that, and he blessed it, and it was neat. And I think the 3 areas that I hear about the most when it comes to people feeling connected to our campus, coming for the first time, having a great experience, or I've visibly seen is Power Kids, when a kid connects to a leader, connects to the thing. And so what you're doing back there is making a difference.
Absolutely.
First impressions, the amount of people that say, this is one of the most welcoming church experiences I've had, or I got connected with different people. They said hi, and I was shocked. It made me want to come back. Like, is countless. I've had countless conversations like that. And then worship. I've seen people visibly moved to tears or moved by raising their hands. They're responding to the Spirit leading and to the ability to sing about Jesus in a neat way. And so those 3 areas, I think about this where it's like there is no greater, less than area, every area working together, investing what we have personally and investing collectively for the sake of Jesus. And I think it comes down to recognizing what does it mean to pursue excellence kind of inside of this theme is first recognizing the grace that God has given us to live such good lives in such a way that we invested in the kingdom. And so first, pursuing excellence is recognizing God's gift to us in wanting to live in such a way that our lives are displaying that gift, that it would make a difference in the kingdom, whether we see it or not week in and week out, which when it comes to the kingdom of God, we don't always see it week in and week out, but he's doing some really cool things. And, well, one of the verses in there, Matthew 21, or Matthew 28, my gosh, which chapter?
25.
25. So many chapters, I said wrong. Matthew 25, the master comes back and says one of the servants that did well with it. Well done, good and faithful servant. And he said, join me, and you're joining me in the happiness of this all, like the master's happiness. And I think that we get a chance to join in God's mission, which is his happiness of seeing lost be found. And we know that ultimately, eternally, we're going to enjoy kind of the fruits of our labor. And so there's two sides of it. We've had multiple people say yes to Jesus over the course of the summer into the fall. And a lot of that has to do with our willingness to show up and do with what we have the best of our ability. And so we appreciate it. Keep going. Keep investing. And when it gets hard, just know that there's other people to encourage you through those moments.
And I think it's important to remember this too, this exact thing, because I've heard pretty recently, someone say, "Oh, you guys look like you got it all together. Like, you don't need me." It's like, that's not it. We never have enough people. And I don't say that as in like, we're hurting in all these places and positions. That may be true in some times of the church and all that stuff. But we never have enough people, because there's always people who are going to be coming, who are going to be seeking out Jesus. And you will always have these gifts and talents within you. And utilizing them not only grows you in your relationship with Jesus, but it also helps us to grow the church, helps Jesus to grow the church through us.
100%.
And so I think that's important to remember. If you ever hear that statement, be like, no. We need you.
Yeah, I think if you're a part, and this is not a guilt or shame invitation into it, but I think if you're a part of God's kingdom, God's family, you've said yes to Jesus.
Yeah.
We do need you, but not because we always need roles filled, but we need you because you bring something to the table as a part of God's kingdom that we don't have already and could connect with someone. And so the heart behind it is that everyone who said yes to Jesus be a part of making Jesus make sense on the dream team or in different ways, because, we want to make an impact, but we also just need you and need you, and God is inviting you to invest. And what does that look like? And that might shift during different seasons. Or you might, the availability, all that stuff's real. But I think the invitation is ultimately there. And so, we always need, and we always want, and we always are encouraging you to live out of the grace that's been given to you by God. Yep.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Glad you were here. Remember, the dream team is great, or dream team is great, or rocks, or something.
No, just dream team is great.
Dream team
I
is
won't
great?
give out any
cool.
gift if it's
anything
something other than
no variations.
Dream team is great.
Dream team is great. Text Joel or Paige. Probably have our numbers, I would assume.
If you don't, just email us or email.
The first response we get gets the prize. Thanks for joining us as we talked about pursuing excellence within the Dream Team Creed. We hope that you jump into the next time we have this podcast.